So in this module, we'll try to understand SQL Server, how does it actually look like, and trying to understand the tool sets there inside. Yeah? Okay. So you could have heard about the different type of databases in the industry, and we know that database is something like where we keep all the data there inside, and we require the maintenance and management of that data which we have kept, right? So SQL Server is a purely complete set of enterprise ready technology and tool more than a simple relational database engine. So it is not only a relational database engine, it is more than that. We can call it MS Access is also a RDBMS. But RDBMS, but maintenance and management of the data is very low. Volume of the data is very low. So now we can have huge amount of data, like we can make it enterprise ready. So that is what the target was in terms of SQL Server. It used to, manage the organizational data as well as derive value from information within the data. So that is one of the biggest reason that, we can keep the data, but it can be a raw data. But here, SQL Server allows you to derive the value from the data which is there, which is no more raw. It is purely information. High performance, highly available, as well as secure and scalable. So this was the pure target from Microsoft that they bring up SQL Server as the one. So another one more bigger portion they have targeted is low total cost of ownership. So this is one of the biggest reasons that SQL Server is leading a market right now, because it has license cost is low. You can get lots of components. You don't require to pay for all of the components. You buy one license and you get all the benefits. So that is what another one more. Other than that, you don't require lots of resources to be engaged. Yeah. So that is one of the reason behind that Microsoft says we actually say it is total low total cost of ownership and highly integrated platform. Like we can have productive management and development tooling. Both of them are there. So that is another one more biggest things that is actually discussed in terms of SQL Server. Yeah. So another one more important thing is what are all the different components that are available in SQL Server which actually help us to do what. So I'll tell you about each and every piece that are actually here, what you see in front of you. So when you say, database engine or we call it integration services, analysis services, we might require to understand, do we require all these components or not, right? So what Microsoft has done is, Microsoft has not only focused on the relational components, or we call it relational database management system, they also focused on business intelligence components as well. So business intelligence is another one more technique which actually helps you make your business to be a profitable business or to make your business to be more efficient in terms of decision making. So Microsoft also has been put on their hands and they came inside the business intelligence by introducing certain components of business intelligence. So we'll try to talk about those components as well in detail. Right, so and as an administrator, we might require to maintain and manage that as well. But yes, definitely there will be people who will be working on different components as a business intelligence developer. So those people will be different. But as an administrator, definitely you have to manage and maintain those data that is coming in and going out to the different systems. Yeah, trying to understand each and every component more in detail, right? So what exactly happens is, when we say database engine again composed of more components. So let me quickly take you through the whiteboard. Now, as I says, we have something called, and inside this we have small boxes. Okay, let me count this as a database engine. Okay, the component which is composed of this one component is application, another component is full text, third component I am listing down is service broker. Now, database engine is the core component of SQL Server. Now, this was the one which has been entered because this will be the engine to run the database efficiently, to manage each and every relationship and everything inside the database is done by your database engine. So, database engine is one of the most important engine in SQL Server. So, it says database engine is again further divided into relational engine and the formula engine. Okay, so relational engine actually takes care of all the relationship between the data that is coming in. Formula engine is actually taking care of while processing the data inside the engine, there should be somebody who will be taking care of CPU, memory, how much to escalate, what kind of calculation has to be done, cost calculations and everything is actually taken care by your formula engine. Yeah. So inside the database engine, there are more components which are associated. One is your application, full text, and service broker. So these are another full of components. Now, when we actually talk about these components, what exactly happens is replication is one of the technique. This replication is one of the technique which actually give us an opportunity to distribute the data. For example, I have one server here, right? We'll be talking more in detail whenever we will be jumping to the module, but I'm just trying to give you a basic idea how does it actually look like. You could have heard about the newspaper publishers, right? And the resellers, we call it as distributors. So they used to give it to the distributor, and distributor will be sending to those subscribers whoever has been asked to, ask those newspaper or the magazines. So same kind of concept here also. For example, so we have servers here this way, okay? Now, for example, this server is called server 1. I call it as publisher, yeah. And this server is another server called server 2, SQL server. I'm talking about SQL server, distributor. And these are my server, which is lying somewhere in the other location, server 3 and server 4, yeah. And these are my subscribers, subscriber 1 and subscriber 2. Now, what exactly happens is there are few tables which actually has data. Okay, so these are my tables which has some data which I actually publish here and send it to multiple subscribers whoever asks for those particular tables. Okay, so these tables or the entities I call it as not only tables, I can send lots of other things also, but I am actually calling all this as an article, the same technical name. So this technique can be done with the help of your application component only. So if you have a situation where you want to implement data distribution, right? Data distribution and also making sure that whenever there is an update onto the primary server has to be available onto the secondary servers, so you have to use the technique called something called replication in that situation. And they are only connected whenever they require to update in between. Otherwise, they are independent. So this can be anywhere in any of the location. Right? So this process, this kind of strategy or this kind of process is given by a component called replication. So replication is another part of database engine. At the time of installation, you have to make sure that if you want application component, you can include it, but it is not chargeable as for Microsoft because it is already included inside the license that you have bought. So you don't require to worry about this. Yeah? So we can have a situation of replication wherever we want to distribute the data across the servers, and definitely it is possible with the help of replication. And there is a disconnection in between the servers, right? So this is what the replication actually helps you to do. And anyways, we will be implementing it in MCITP. We actually have a module for replication as well, okay? Yeah. So just going forward, like this is what the replication which, distributing the data from one server to the multiple servers. So this is another one more component which is there inside the database engine. So we have to be selective whenever we do, whenever we create or whenever we install SQL Server, we have to make sure that do we require application or do we require application sometime afterward also. So we might require to check at that. Yeah? Yeah. Other than that, yes, we have another one more. I'm just rubbing this portion so that I can have the same window open.
Yeah. Wait.
Okay.
Don't clean everything. Okay.
Just a second.
No. I'm in the finish.
Okay.
In the end.
This portion. The last portion?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can clean this. Yeah.
Okay. I can rub the other areas also?
Not yet.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, you can.
Okay, great. Okay. So another one more component that we have is something called full text.
Yep.
Now,
this is the application. In the application, we have one publisher.
Yeah, distributor.
They pass the article from distributor, and the distributor can replicate to server 3 or server 4.
Yep. That's true. So it can be n numbers. That is not restricted to 2. That can be n numbers.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. So anyways, you will be having a dedicated module, so don't worry. We will be implementing it live. Yeah. We have another component called full text. Now, you might have went through multiple job portal, right? Or you might have went to Google multiple times. Yeah?
Yeah.
Now, when you go to Google, what you do? You say, okay, I am searching for ABC, right? Or let's say Mongolian-based band, we call it as, Army Squad. You could have heard about that multiple times, right? So what we do is we just go and type what we want and we get our result. But do we aware about what is happening inside? What might be the things that might go inside and, doing our job, what we are looking for. That is what they target here. Now, what exactly we are trying to do is, now in case, for example, I have a situation here. I have a big table, right? And this table contains multiple columns. Let's say this is my table. Now, this table is my, for example, ID. This is my product. And this is my product description. Okay. Now, let's take an example. There is an application or there is a user. There is a user trying to fire up certain queries onto this particular database. Right. So, for example, when he tries to query this particular table, right? So this user says that what I am doing is I really, for example, he is trying to query it from one of the web portal. So he know, this user know this web portal. He really don't know how it is fetching the data from here. Yeah, so this is my web portal. Okay, and here we have certain options like, we can query with ID, we can query with product name, or we can query with the description. And there is a button which we click and we actually get that result. Okay, this is my button. Okay, so here, let's say for example, this is my ID, this is my product name, and this is my description. Now, this user actually came here and says that, okay, I just want to go and query onto this portal, but I really don't know how we keep the data here. For example, this has near about 10 characters, right? And this has around 50 characters, but this has around 2000 characters, okay? Not correct, we can say 2000 words, yeah? Not characters also. These are characters, but these are words. 2000 words per row. So every row, when you see, so you will see, let's say you have very huge column. In this situation, when a user trying to query this particular, request. For example, one user came in and says, I don't know the ID, I don't know the product name, but I know the description, how it might look. So it might say that, okay, product which gives fragrance or something, like I am looking for some kind of perfume-based product, this fragrance or this flavor fragrance. So we have given those descriptions there inside the description box, and we're trying to query this particular table. For example, we click this and the request went to this one. So in this situation, now what exactly happens is, it will pass inside this particular column and trying to query each and every word here, and he will try to query all those number of rows that we have. Let's talk about it is actually having about 200,000 rows, right? I'm just talking about minimum rows. These are not very big as compared to the enterprise. These are the number of rows that we are trying to go and scan. Now, what exactly happens in that situation is, whenever you go and scan this particular table, it will take lots of time to find out those rows which are matching, right? Because so whenever you query, definitely he have to go and scan the whole table, scan the whole row, whole columns, and trying to find out those best things that they can find out from that particular end, from the description, whatever it has been provided here. Now the problem is, because of this search, our, the database engine started suffering from or stressing from CPU, more memory, right? And require more of physical I/O. Right? Input-output operation is more. So in short, my server is slow. Yeah. Now, what help that we can gain from full text? One thing is, whenever you do a search inside a SQL server, you can provide the wildcard. For example, let's take an example of this one. Say you went to Windows 7 and you want to trying to find out the file name, and it's a huge drive and you really don't know where did you kept it. So what do? You go to search and type the name, right? Or you say that first name star dot. Either you are looking for PDF, XLS or anything. You give the extension or you give the wildcard, right? So what exactly we do is, either we give star sign, right? Or either we give underscore, or either we give percentage sign. This actually notice you to give like what exactly you are looking for. I'm looking for many characters. It can be anything. I'm not sure about it. I'm looking for single character, or I'm looking for single character using percentage. So what exactly happens is, we are trying to do more customization in terms of search algorithm. Now, to reduce the workload from our SQL server, right, to actually overcome this problem, in short, trying to overcome this problem, trying to find out what will be the best way which will actually help us to improve, complete these things up. So they have introduced something called a full text engine in this situation. Like full text, actually, this is the another component, better component. What exactly it will do is, it will create an index. It will create actually an index onto the column wherever you have defined the full text enabled. Now, what exactly happens whenever you enable a full text is, as soon as you enable a full text, right, as soon as you enable the full text, it will break all the words, right, one by one. For example, if you have my name is, my is different word, name is different word, is different word. So it will break into all of those. We can take an example of my name is. So these are three different words. It will actually break into this one. Okay. And now if my name is again, my is again coming again, name is again coming, is coming again. So in this situation, he will try to find out, first of all, he will do the breaking of the word. Second, he will try to go and find the unique word, right? Or we call it eliminate duplicate. Okay. Yeah. So once you find the unique words, you will list down all the words. He will list down all the words, whatever he has find it out, and he will give an index to those words. Okay. So each and every word that he finds, he will give the index. Now, for example, in this situation, in the same example, I have name is. All this has been given a particular index. I say this is 1, and this is 2. And this is 3. Just to tell you an example. Okay, just to give you an example. So he will try to give you this kind of situation. So full text will actually help you to find this one. Now once you have those words here, yeah, so all these index are assigned to those names or all those words. Now whenever somebody searches on this, right, for example now, let's take an example. This person has actually does a search here and press this submit button. As soon as he does that, he will try to go to the database engine and he sees that okay, whatever he is querying, this is actually available inside the full text. So what I will do is I will give a charge to the full text engine. So there will be a full text engine. So this full text engine will actually do all the jobs for crawling, finding that particular names, because the indexes has been assigned to it. It's become easy for them. So he will find those words and trying to give you back to the result set using that particular ID mapping to those. So this will be much more faster as compared to all of this and no stress at all. So in this situation, you gain purely this one. So this benefit, so this actually goes to your high performance, right? So you have high performance gain from here. Now as soon as you do this, another one more thing that you always have to remember is how do you make sure that you use full text engine. So whenever you enable a full text engine onto the top of the column, right, as I says, whenever the request come up, he will try to find out either he is enable full text or not. He will, as soon as he finds out, okay, it is full text enabled, he will tell the full text engine to react and trying to work around, right? But from the client end, we have to initiate that this is the column which we are targeting and we are using a functions that is associated with the full text. So to do that, client has to send the request which is full text oriented. So how does the client will do? The client will use certain functions called contain, right? Or you can use something called free text. So these are two different functions which will get enabled, or this will be used by the application to go inside the column which is full text enabled and get the benefit. Contain will actually look for the fixed value that has been actually allotted there. Free text actually even use the synonymical or sound like words also. For example, the England people call love is love, right? So, or they have different sound, they have different accent. So even the free text will support accent sensitive. So it will actually look for the accent sensitivity basis on the language that you have selected. So you find it very, very intellectual by the system that it is reacting and it is finding basis on the sounds also. So you find those people who sound like also, as well as who are synonyms from the same kind of word that you are searching in. So that gives you a benefit of, the searching and lesser of the pressure onto the server. Okay? Yeah, Emmanuel, do you have any questions on this?
No, not yet.
Okay, so understood what is the basic requirement of the full text, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is another one more component which actually gives you a bigger pleasure to have a good search technique implemented inside the system. Okay, can I run this portion?
Yeah.
Okay, great.